Great moment, Million Mom Movement family. Thank you so much for making community my family. My name is Carmela Velarde, and I'm a council member in the Million Mom Movement, and I'm joined by my other three members, Neva Flore in Hawaii, Taz Ferreira in Miami, and Michelle Ricci. We're committed to looking for 1,000 caregivers in 100 communities to impact 10 lives each with our movement. And we're the activism arm of the organic superfood company Purium, which stands for Pure and Premium. And it's started by our farmer and formulator, David Sandoval, and our co-founder, Amy Venner. And we address the root cause with food as medicine by focusing on gut health and the absorption through our organic, alkaline, and food plant-based superfood lifestyle. So today we have a business forward episode for all of you. And 9 years ago, this business transformed my health as well as the prosperity for my family and my team of thousands to grassroots educate with our glyphosate solution. And I've always led with activism because as a mom of a 9 and a 12-year-old with a practice in transformational health coaching and bodywork for 2 decades, I chose to be a part of the solution with nutrition, showing people how to move from this toxic standard American diet to our RAD, so our SAD to RAD lifestyle, which is the Radiance Activated Devotion lifestyle. And on our Million Mom Movement social media, the council has created a wonderful flipbook tool to share on. So please take a look at what we've created and whenever you have a moment. I also had created a wellness center with my mom and in the New York City area, and I believe in creating community to share education and the voices of the people to uplift and empower. So today we have 2 very special guests, and this topic is a plastic-free business and sustainable practices and ethical business benefits. So our first honored guest is Sheena Fortner, who is a renowned international environmental activist. And the second is our leader at the helm in the PR movement, which is David Sandoval himself. So, but first, let's move to Ecuador, where Michelle Ricci is here to share the In the News piece for today. Go ahead, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Carmela. We have such a great call today, and I'm excited to revisit with these 2 that we got to see in LA last month. So we do this in the news because we really want to bring up to the forefront what is going on in the world, and what better in the news piece to share this week than our own blog written by corporate and brought forward by Dave Sandoval. So are you able to share, Carmela? We have actually 2 pieces that I'd like to bring up. Let me see if I can get my screen to share. So the first one is how the Purium lifestyle, there it is, great. This first one is how the Purium lifestyle helps improve your environmental impact. And this is talking about our carbon footprint, as Dave coined. And I really love this. You know, the devastating impacts on global warming are unavoidable. It is a petroleum-based product. It affects our wildlife. It affects our hormones. It is so crucial that we pay attention and limit this. And I was looking at the global warming degrees by 2050, and you look at it and it's about 1.5 degrees Celsius up to 4 degrees Celsius by 2050. And that may not seem like a lot, but it really is significant. So there's a great video in this article where Dave talks for a few minutes about really reducing our carbon footprint and how much it takes to go from the farm in a vehicle, refrigerated vehicle, to a refrigerated warehouse, then to a grocery store where hundreds of cars will come and pick it up, and then it goes into our refrigerator. And it's really not sustainable. And it's a huge reason why we're seeing global warming. So plastic. what we're talking about today and the guests that you're going to hear from today, we're really talking about one-use plastic. It's great to recycle, and we should all do it, and we all get to do it, and that's wonderful. But really, let's go to the root cause and stop using one-use plastic altogether. Today's call, Dave is going to talk about the solution by going plant-based in the first place. So this is a fantastic article that goes into how much really is going into the oceans and why tackling it at the root is so important. We're also looking at the meat industry, one plate's impact on the planet. And I know that Dave's going to go into a lot of this, so just want to do a quick overview. In this article, there is also a link to a second article, which talks about Purium's commitment to reducing, let me see if I can find it here. Whoops, my screen share went away. Sorry, guys. Thanks for your patience. We're going to hear all today about how Purium is not just joining the charge against plastic free living and the reduction of one-use plastic, but how we're actually pioneering this. And one of the best things that happened when I was in LA is that so many people want this. And there has been a huge barrier into sustainable companies and people putting out good products into getting into plant-based packaging. So this article, you can find it in the link in the first article, but this talks about today's estimated that 50% of plastic is used only once and then thrown away. I happen to be in Ecuador and I winter on the beaches of the world, and I see plastic, little pieces of one-use plastic instead of seashells. And it's a stark comparison to when I was younger and seeing the natural organic shells that will wash up on the beach. So we're going to hear from Dave and Sheena about creating these healthy lifestyles and what we can do about limiting our use of one-use plastic and how we can actually advocate moving forward in the world and help companies that we love go plastic-free with this mission. So I'm so excited for the call. With that, I'm going to pass it back and we'll hear from our leaders. Thanks, Carmela.
Thank you, Michelle. Oh, well, what a wonderful discussion this is going to be. And please share this video on. It's on our YouTube channel. But let's get into it. So how is our Purium packaging revolutionary? And what are the benefits of partnering with a company that invests in pioneering and making a world a better place? So we get to bring on a very special guest today. She's one of the Purium allies and friends. Her name is Sheena Fortner. So Sheena is an environmental solutions expert with over 20 years of experience and a passionate climate and social activist as well. As a conservation officer in Belize, she served as a liaison between co-management entities and the Ministry of Fisheries. In that role, she worked for the protection of the second largest coral reef in the world, the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef. During this period, she conducted research of marine protected areas in Curacao, Belize, and Hawaii. She also petitioned the Public Utilities Commission on behalf of the Rosebud Lakota tribe to reconsider the route of the Keystone XL pipeline, which was over the largest freshwater aquifer in the United States. Further, she assisted the Apache tribe preserving Oak Flat and the Standing Rock Sioux tribe in their stance on the Dakota Access Pipeline. Sheena has a track record of crossing cultural and socioeconomic barriers to resolve environmental problems. And as an entrepreneur in 2018, she created a vertically integrated hemp business, Equinox Solutions, followed by Turpentine Valley in 2020, and is trained as an environmental lawyer and featured speaker on environmental issues. She also has a JD from Vermont Law and a BS in biology and chemistry from Tennessee State. So with that, we welcome Sheena to our Million Mom Movement community. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be part of the Alliance and supporter of Purium, the Million Mom Movement, and all of the amazing work Dave and team have put together. So thank you once again for asking me to be here this afternoon.
Absolutely, our pleasure, Sheena. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you're currently in New York City for an NFT convention. I'd love for you to go into a little bit about what you're doing with the fundraising there. But you actually hail from Asheville, North Carolina, and are going to be moving to Miami. So we'd love for you to, just share a little bit about what you're doing over there in New York and really what it's funding for you.
Great. I'm the CEO of Carbon Market Exchange. We have been in business since 2021. We're currently doing an expansion capital raise here in New York, and also we're participating in the NFT NYC. So it's Carbon Market Exchange protects millions of acres around the globe. We have projects in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. The carbon market is I apologize, I am in New York. The carbon market is an institutional mechanism, a market-based mechanism that allows corporations to give back. In the interim, while companies are being incentivized to go plastic free, to go into electric use of vehicles or distribution means, cutting emissions, they're able to protect pieces of key biodiversity areas around the world. And our projects support a microeconomy for local indigenous communities, local communities, national and international goals.
Wow, I love this. Amazing that you've been on the ground for 20 years, really doing this and aligning with us. Thank you so much. And I know that you're looking to build infrastructure. And let's talk about those nature-based solutions and how it's evolved this initiative that you call the 30/30, if you wouldn't mind talking about that.
So as you were discussing earlier as well on the article that was being read out of Ecuador, the significance of this 1.5. The 1.5 degrees Celsius is a point of no return. At 2 degrees, at 0.5 degrees increase at 2 degrees Celsius, we're talking about 70% of the coral reefs will not survive. Once we're over 2 degrees, we're talking 90% of the coral reefs will not survive. It is, coral reefs provide a lot of oxygen for us as a species as well, and an imbalance in ecosystem. And it's very vital. So the United Nations said for us to be able to mitigate this damage, we need to protect 30% of the planet in the next 7 years. Utilizing carbon offsets, we have protected millions of hectares around the globe. And our small individual actions as a collective bring substantial change.
Oh, I love that. Yes, this is how we can get our community involved, right? Yes, so the substantial change starts with an individual home and its usage and its awareness. And so, the value and integrity is so important of all of our choices, especially with how we vote with our dollars for every product that comes in our household, into our bodies, and talk about that a little bit more. You have such a wealth of knowledge. I feel like we just want you to share all your wisdom with all of us.
It's incredible the amount of what a collective group can make substantial change. And Justin, the Million Mom Movement, bringing together empowering women. I was at several meetings this week in New York, and I'm usually one of maybe 2 women at the table. And so with the carbon offsets and the utilization of cryptocurrency, we're really seeing this gender equality that's coming into focus. And our personal choices. just like Purium, getting ahead of the curve, leading the movement by creating a plastic-free world, a plastic-free alliance, and walking your talk. So not only are you bringing very healthy, nutritious products to market, you're doing it in a sustainable way. And only if we could get the other hundreds of thousands of companies to follow in Purium's footsteps, we would be in a much better place.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about this 30% initiative, it was signed on by the UN. What does that look like? And you're traveling as well? Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's under the Kyoto Protocol. They decided in 2015 at the Paris, the United Nations Conference of the Parties, that something has to be done. Our bodies, our planet is in a very unhealthy state, and it's a reflection of the people, the population. And as we change as individuals, our individual choices, how we choose to take care of ourselves, is a reflection of how we are choosing to take care of this planet. So the United Nations decided that we need to stop. We need to stop the destruction. And the best way for us to do that is protection. How we can protect as individuals, we need to stop fast food. We could go on the carcinogenic slew of ingredients that's fed to children, to our populations, and the disease, the dis-ease that's being caused within individuals and our planet. And so I was saying, how can you help, assist, protect as an individual? And that's why we've also created carbon offsets as an NFT and a token. And individuals, because the carbon offset market is 50,000 metric tons, an individual only emits maybe 16. So we will be launching XCO2 is the token. It's a divisible metric ton, and then our NFT as well. So individuals can help not only protect the planet, the species, local communities, culture, and provide a circular economy for local communities.
Wow, talk about pioneering and creating what needs to happen for all of us. And being a woman as well. Do you happen to be a mother as well?
I am not. I have nieces and nephews, and I feel like this company and the projects that I work on is the mothering to bring them into fruition, creation, and adaptation.
Oh, that's for sure. And we need you. And yeah, just bringing value where there is none. And so you're talking about these nature-based solutions and value versus capital. And instead of these petro-based products, really, how we can all get involved, and why are we looking into this plastic-free alliance? Why for you?
Because now that we're helping to protect the biodiversity, the individuals, the animals without a voice, now we can really start educating the conscious collective to make smarter decisions. What that looks like by choosing to pick a single-use container, and how that's going to affect several generations to come. And it starts with the individual. So Carbon Market Exchange is now participating in renewables, plastic-free options, the creation of regenerative agriculture. There are so many ways for us to take better care of ourselves and our environment.
Oh, you're speaking our language. This is exactly why a lot of us have joined with Purium. And I know that you've been doing a lot of work over the past 2 decades, and your projects were mainly outside their country. And so you're an American, and did you grow up in Asheville? What kind of led you into this whole focus of environmental conservation?
I grew up outside of Asheville, North Carolina. After university, I went as a Peace Corps volunteer to Belize and got to start to understand Central America, and also even spending time in the US on the reservations. It is very similar to a developing country, a developing world, and and how I, as a conduit, can help. How can I contribute? All of us want to do something to contribute to the betterment of ourselves, the betterment of society. And so it led me to want to participate in environmental projects, environmental activism, and also doing it with integrity. And I think that's the largest driver, and it's a challenge for corporations and companies that want to do something with integrity, and then it costs capital resources. And now we're seeing, with the advance of the hemp industry, of seaweed, of bamboo, that it is really becoming more marketable. It's price efficient. It's almost the same, if not similar cost, maybe within 1 to 2 cents. So now it's more viable, economically viable to scale.
I love that. And that's hopeful information for all of us here who are trying to make a difference every single day with health coaching with our vehicle. We know that the companies out there, that they're forced through these regulatory agencies, and that is the food politics that we're up against. And this community is very much an activism arm. So we get to speak out about this and educate people, not just on the product knowledge, but what world are we swimming in outside? So for instance, you told me this one statistic about the plastic bags, and I was shocked that it was only in two states where a single-use plastic bags aren't allowed.
Yeah, I believe Maui County, and then Hawaii opened up. I'm here in New York City, and there's a plastic bag ban. I think that states and individual cities, Hawaii, I see is one of them as well. And so the local voice of the local people in the community, you reach out to your representatives, Congress, senators. These are initiatives that can happen at a local level. And even in Hawaii or in New York City, even if you go to a large box store, you will still not see a plastic bag. So it has to come at the regulatory level of governance.
I love that. Yeah, it's taking action and sharing your voice and knowing how to do that. And our alliance is in practice of this. So the other members of my council actually attended the Plastic Free Lines Gala, and they got to meet you. So they're also going to come on and share their voices, which we love. So ladies, Taz, Michelle, and Eva, would you guys like to connect and ask any question? And bring on Dave. We would love to also bring on Dave in this conjunction.
Sheena, I have a question. I was reading that there is multiple, is there more than, is it the carbon market and then there's different markets within that? Or can you just explain a little bit about that? And is this solely for businesses versus independent homeowners or just people?
Yeah. It's currently an institutional market that trades in 50,000 metric tons. Because of the crypto that we are creating, then individuals can participate as well. Last year, according to Forbes, the price of a carbon offset increased 400%. It's expected to increase 4,000%. And now only the institutions have access to this. It's so under the, and your first question?
The first question is about, is there more than one carbon market?
Yeah.
Or how does that mean?
So there are several different regulatory mechanisms to get verified. If you have an improved forest management, or if you're doing regenerative agriculture, or if you're doing renewables, or if you're sequestering carbon by creating a bioplastic, or if you're taking waste, methane waste, and producing energy. There are several varieties of carbon offsets currently on the market. Blue carbon as well, protection of reefs, protection of mangroves.
Great. Thanks for extrapolating on that. So as an individual, how can one get involved beyond seeking out companies that are part of this exchange or that are already following these practices, which we know Purium is pioneering, we get to be a part of. And also, how would we find other companies that are on the right side of this exchange?
I think we're starting to see more companies who are coming out and making announcements of ESG, that they're going net zero, that they're contributing to the issue. You can also look under the UN individuals and companies that have signed on to the 30 by 30 pledge to say that they're doing their part, that they are becoming part of the solution and not continue to be part of the problem.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we'll all be looking that up now that you've mentioned it. If somebody could put that maybe in the chat, the UN 30 by 30 pledge. So we have a pledge too with what we choose to stand for in our community. So thank you for resourcing that. Well, we'd love to also bring on Dave. He's here with us at the helm of our movement. And with this Plastic-Free Alliance really launched out, we really want to educate more people that it exists and why is it so important to lead with our activism. Dave, can you share on that? Oh, we need to unmute Dave.
There we go. Well, thank you so much, for all that, you are doing, and what a great, guest talking about, this incredible new movement. It really is powerful. And I want to just restate something, that I don't want this to be confused with politics. I don't want this to be confused with religion. I don't want this to be confused with anything. This is a community, a world community that has to come together to save a world community. And when we look and see at, the gravity of the situation, where over 34, 35% in climbing of all commercial fish tested, all the fish in the markets, 1/3 of it or more has measurable amounts of plastic embedded in the flesh of the fish that we eat. I can't even imagine how you determine which ones do and which ones don't. But the bottom line is that we have way more power than we realize. When you look at and I apologize, I have met and I'm fond of, and I have forgotten the name of our guest who just spoke, and I want to speak of her to her by her name. So remind me.
Sheena Forrester.
Sheena,
yeah.
I'm so sorry, Sheena. You know how I am with names, but Sheena is an incredible human being. You look at just how much knowledge she has sought out by her degrees, a Juris Doctorate and all these other degrees in biology and chemistry and environmental, biology and all these things. And you don't have to be Sheena to change the world, you guys. Okay, you could be sitting at home with 3 kids on a computer. You could be like me, never having graduated high school, never having gone to college, slept under trees and eaten out of trash cans. I was homeless at one point in my life. I went through all that plastic looking for my food. And so I know. So you don't have to be, anybody other than you to change the world. The letters you write, the calls you could make, the people you could speak to, the way that you could become, that posture on social media, and you will gain the respect of your peers for being passionately caring and dedicated to a cause that's bigger than you. Every cause I've taken on was so much bigger than me. Okay, when we first decided that people needed to have an organic symbol on food so they would know which food definitely had chemicals and which food definitely did not. And we fought so hard just so that we could have that umbrella that we could go under to feel safe and get out of that rain of the chemicals that were falling down on us. And when we saw that even though genetically modified food was bad, it was the glyphosate that they were using that was not just used on GMOs, but was used on traditional foods. So if you bought your food based upon a non-GMO label, it would not protect you, because so many foods that were not genetically modified were being sprayed with glyphosate. So we decided that legislation was going to take too long. So we created a physical solution, okay? A physical solution, a biological agent to fight a biological agent. And so our movement toward addressing the biggest problems in the world, it can't stop. Okay, the bigger the problem, the more focused we need to be. We cannot be bowed. We cannot be intimidated. We cannot be suppressed. We are the voice, and we are going to be heard. So I tell a story. Okay, I was in Japan and I was speaking, and there was a brilliant man speaking before me. He spoke, he was a Korean man who had gained great fame in Japan. And if you know the culture there, that's not easy. He spoke 7 languages. He had like 15 degrees. And at the age of 36, he had over 40 papers published in peer-reviewed journals, meaning this guy's straight up genius. Well, as I'm listening to him and my interpreter is telling me what he's saying, I'm just blown away at how brilliant this man is. And then the audience gets really excited, and then the audience gets really excited, and I ask her, what did he say? He said that they're about to meet the most brilliant man that he knows. And I said, wow, who's that? And she looks at me and she says, you. And I'm like, oh, dang. Like, it's like, how do you follow up? It's like, saying, like being asked to jump on stage at a concert and you don't know how to sing, So all of a sudden I'm just sort of scared and intimidated. And I noticed there's a candle sitting on the podium, and I light the candle, and I asked for all the lights to be in the room to be turned out. And I hold the candle up and I ask who could see the candle. And everybody in the room, 10,000 people in this room, everybody in the room says, hi, yes, we can see the candle. So then I asked for the lights to be turned back on. And I said, who could see the candle now? And just a few people at the front of the room could see the light. And I said, the only reason why Dr. Wu is saying that I'm so bright is because the world has gotten so dark. And a single candle in total darkness could be seen for miles. Okay? So the darker that you feel, the more you feel the darkness closing in on you, the more that you must let your light shine. And the more important it is for you to go out and find other candles to light. And as I said in that room, that if I took my candle and I tried to light, if everybody in the room had a candle and I tried to walk throughout the room and light everybody's candle with mine, my candle would expire before I ever had the chance to get to the back of the room. But if I could light 3 candles and they in turn could light 3 candles, just like Purium, okay? And pretty soon there would be 10,000 candles lit before you knew it. And those 10,000 candles would light up that room in such a way like it's never been lit before. Like no artificial light ever could. And if you will just become part of this family of candles, just get lit, get fired up the way that I am, and just know that your light will be seen. And together, we could light so many more candles. We don't have to be geniuses. We don't have to have degrees. We don't have to own organizations. We simply have to care so much, to care so passionately that anyone who talks to us will be moved by the fact that you care about their children and you care about their health and you don't care about their politics or their religion or their race or anything. You simply care. That's it. You simply care. So the Million Mom Movement is a community of people who care so passionately that we're willing to get out of our comfort zone, that we're willing to get on our phones, that we're willing to get on social media, that we're willing to do something because, you know, every day we wake up and we are capable of doing so much. We are so powerful. I have seen mountains moved by ants. You know what I'm talking about. And I've seen elephants fall into a hole and never get out. So don't think that you have to be big to be successful. Okay, together, we're unstoppable. We really are. Because if one of us gets tired and one of us gets suppressed, the rest of us keep moving on. Keep moving on, one step in front of the other. But I have to tell you, it doesn't happen by accident. If you don't make those phone calls, if you don't write those letters, if you don't invite other people to become passionately involved, there are people who are passionately dedicated to earning money and passionately dedicated to doing what's easiest and passionately dedicated to doing what's fastest and passionately dedicated to doing all the things that they don't have to do. So while I'm not in favor of big government, I'm really not. And I'm not in favor of regulations that are unnecessary. I do believe that just like in your personal life, if you don't set boundaries, people walk all over you, right?
Right.
And the only people who are offended when you set boundaries are the people who've been taking advantage of you. And you all know it. You know? So let's set some boundaries, okay, around what is acceptable when we shop. Let's set some boundaries about what's acceptable. When they say, would you like to take that to go? You have to ask, is it paper or plastic? Because I won't take my food to go. I don't care if there's enough food for another meal. I'm not taking it to go. Or maybe I bring my own to-go container, like so many of us on this call do already. And you go in there with your own to-go container, okay? But we have to set boundaries. Last night at dinner, I seemed like the biggest a-hole on the planet. Because like, no, I can't eat the rolls because they could have glyphosate. No, I can't have a beer with you guys because they could have glyphosate. You know, I'm asking about, you know, and I know it's not an organic restaurant, so I've got to do better. I can't do best. I have to do better. And I can't just throw in the towel and say, well, I'm in public, I'm in at a restaurant, I just have to accept whatever they put on the table. No, there's still things I can control. So no little cups with sauces in them that are made out of plastic, okay? And no to-go containers. And yeah, no bread and no beer because they're made with grains and they're most likely to have glyphosate. So again, I was a little uncomfortable to have dinner with last night. And I went away feeling like, who the hell's ever going to go to dinner with me again? You know? But I couldn't be quiet. I can't sit silent. I can't anymore. I just can't be silent anymore. And we can't be silent anymore. So whatever that means to you, whatever that means to you, whether it's supporting the Million Mom Movement, which you absolutely should, whether it's supporting the Plastic Free Packaging Alliance, which I certainly hope you will, whether it's becoming really dedicated to Purium so that you could let people literally replace 2 meals a day with Purium and cut their plastic use in half, their plastic footprint in half by replacing 2 meals with Purium. So there's things we could do. You do make a difference, but the things you do, okay, the things you will do, the things you can do, and the things we could do together, okay, just imagine it's okay to be an ant because there's so many of us working together. So I want to tell you again, you know, you are powerful, you are capable, and you will continue to impact the world one way or another. You will leave a wake one way or the other. And when you look back and see the impact you left and the wake that you left, I want you to be really proud of that. I want you to be really proud of that and say, I didn't take shortcuts. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't selfish. Because it's really easy to take shortcuts. It's really easy to be lazy. It's really easy to be selfish. The world encourages all of that. They encourage it. They glorify it. And we have to have the courage to stand up. We do. So thank you for inviting me onto this call. And, for all of these people, I want you to look at the Million Mom Movement Council. They volunteer their time. They work hours and hours every week looking for information, culling through news stories, trying to find something, some little thing that might alter your future, that might change your life, that might motivate you to take that step in the right direction. So a very wise man said, an object in motion will stay in motion unless something of equal and opposite force changes that energetic, trajectory. And I'm sure he said it much more eloquently than I did. But the bottom line is you can be part of the change, but you have to change yourself first. So be the change and then create the change and know that we could do this, know that we can. And the last thing I'll say is if you want to join me on my land on Earth Day, lunch is free, camping's free. And we're going to teach permaculture. We're going to teach you how to grow your own food, how to wildcraft for your own food, go into the forest and feed yourself. We're going to teach classes like that. So if you'd like to join us, come on down. And back to Carmela and our very capable Million Mom Movement Council.
We appreciate you more than you'll ever know, Dave. And this community is holding that candle that you passed down to us maybe years and years ago, like me, or brand new. So anyone new here, follow this voice that we hear, that's the power of one candle. And that empowerment that we could take into, like we said, just impacting 10 people within our networks. How powerful are those 10 families that we can impact with the Million Mom Movement? You had a lot of us in tears because we don't hear this in mass media, guys. We don't get to hear someone teaching us how to stand up against mass production, single-use plastics, environmental hazards with the foods and everything we choose to consume. I love to just have Taz come on and share any question you might have, Taz, because you are vegan and a stand for eco-conscious living with your family. I know how hard it is for my 12-year-old, 9-year-old to just combat all the things their kids, their friends and peers say. How are you leading this plastic-free, eco-conscious lifestyle with your family? And do you have any questions for Dave?
Absolutely. So, I mean, it starts with us, right? If we are doing it, our kids will follow. So a first way to begin is simply switching out those bottles, right? Use our Purium ones or use glass. Use something that is sustainable, right? Don't use those plastic bottles. That is the first step. And when your kids see that this is how you're living, they'll do it as well. When you go to those restaurants, don't ask for it to go. Or if you are, ask questions. So get your kids involved in asking more questions. And don't be afraid to speak up. Don't feel shy that this is something that you're going to be judged about. Like what Dave mentioned when he was out, you will feel judged. But that's okay because you are standing for something. You're standing in your power. And you know what? You are allowing other people to voice the same. You are setting a precedent for someone else who might be shy, who might be timid to raise their voice, to be like, you know what? If she can do it, maybe I could too. Right?
I love it.
And I want to ask Dave a question. So when we were at the Plastic Free Alliance, we made so many connections and it was so powerful. how everyone started to understand. We understood how important the work that we've been doing. Okay, first of all, everything Dave is saying, it really touches my heart. And then to give them a solution with a carbon offset, I mean, we had a solution for everything they needed. They spoke about cost, we had it. They spoke about eco-friendly, we had it. But even more, I started understanding that our packaging is compostable, but what that means, it remineralizes the soil, right? I don't think this is something that we really understood. And to know that we've been part of this for so many years is incredible. So Dave, I wanted to know, what resistance have you been facing? Because, you know, you said that being ants, we can create this huge effect. And is it smaller companies or huger companies that you've been noticing who are ready and willing to make this change? Oh, I will unmute you.
There we go. Okay, you know, the truth of the matter is that in theory, everybody wants to do this. Okay, in theory, everybody wants to do this, but you have to understand that business is done in percentages of pennies over millions of products. So let me give you an example. If a product goes up by 1 penny, if the cost of your breakfast cereal goes up by 1 penny, right? And they sell 500 million boxes of breakfast cereal a month, right? Well, they just added $50 million to their bottom line. At the same rate, if something goes up, if the cost of the cereal goes up to them a half a penny, they just lost $25 million a day to their bottom line. So the biggest companies have the thinnest margins and the most resistance to that type of change. And that's why change is incremental. Okay, it starts with the smaller companies, what we call early adopters, and then the noise that influencers make about those smaller companies. And then the companies that need 2 or 3% more market share because they haven't grown and they just need to show their investors that they could grow, they start looking for new ways to get market share. Okay, they start trying to attract new markets. And what they might do is say, we're not going to lose any customers if we go plastic free, but we might gain some. And we might gain some customer loyalty, and we might seem as though we're a good company, even though we might not be. We might be able to greenwash ourselves a little bit and let companies think that we are. And so it's going to take time for the biggest companies, but the carbon offsets are a critical tool in creating that and closing that gap. That's why our first guest is, you know, so critical to this process. Now, I want to say, and I had another point that I really wanted to make, and I, quite honestly, because your question was so good, I had forgotten it, and that's okay, but we'll circle back. And yes, there's no doubt that, you know, we had 300 companies commit. In case y'all don't know what we're talking about, the Million Mom Movement came into Anaheim to the biggest natural products expo on the planet. 10,000 different vendors, each claiming that their product was good and healthy for you. And we walked up to their booth and we said, we're really happy that you're halfway there. And they said, what do you mean halfway there? We said, well, your product's really good for people, but your packaging's really bad for the earth. Now, do you want to get both feet in the door, or are you happy just having one? And 300 companies said they want to get both feet through the door. And out of those 300 companies, 5 of them now have become, out of 300, you guys, 1%, a little more, 1.5% of those 300 have already taken steps toward meeting, you know, toward moving that way. Some of them more aggressive than others. But we have a volunteer who's calling each and every one of them and reminding them of their commitment and setting an appointment for me to talk to them again. But you could lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. And I own 4 horses and I know exactly what that means now. I didn't before, but now I do. And, and I'm telling you that we, just like with Purium, we're going to work with the willing. Okay. When you're at Purium and you talk to 5 people and one of them says, I'm sort of interested in that. And one of them says, I might be interested in that in a year. And another one says, I'm not interested at all. Do you talk to the person who says, I'm not interested at all because you're so stubborn, you want to convince them? How dare you reject me? No, you talk to the person who said, I think I might be interested in that. And then you talk to the person who said, I think I might be interested in that later. And you just don't spend your time on the people who aren't ready. So we have plenty of companies who are ready. We just need to remind them that they're ready. And you have plenty of people who need Purium. You are out there reminding them that they need Purium, right? But if they don't know they need Purium, you can't make them. But you sure as heck could remind them. And we're going to keep reminding these 300 companies that they told us at one point that they were ready. And they can't pull back from that. And until they say, no, we're not ready, they're going to get a call from me every month. Okay. And I'm going to say, remember, you told me you were ready to go plastic free. Have you changed your mind? And I'm not going to stop. Just like you do at Purium. If someone says that they're going to be ready to change their life, you're going to be there to hold their hand. Well, I can't wait to hold these hands. Right now, we've got a couple of protein bars that we're getting new wrappers for. We've got a women's cosmetics shampoo, the one that was right next to us. Those ladies are real serious about it as well. And but none of the big companies that we went at are as excited now as they were then. But I think they realize that, oh, wow, you know, this is going to be a little heavier lift. So let's hold their hand. Let's let them know that, you know, that that will help them, and keep funneling any companies that you know who are ready. We have got everything we can. So I'm going to give you the quick lowdown. Bamboo, hemp, sugarcane, seaweed, biomass. That means you can take mushrooms, these certain mushrooms, okay? And they're like wood. And you could grow these mushrooms and turn them into plastic. And so there's like 7 or 8 already proven viable bioresin alternatives. And what that means is when you make plastic, it starts with the byproduct of petrochemicals from the gasoline and diesel and jet engine fuel that's made, okay? And the byproduct of that is turned into little plastic pellets, okay, called resin pellets. And those little pellets are the first step in the process. And they then are melted down and turned into anything that we see as plastic today. Well, the beautiful thing is we now have bioresin pellets, not petrochemical resin pellets, but bioresin pellets that could go in to the front end of that process and come out anything that you see made out of petrochemical resin pellets or plastic, what we call plastic today. But remember, plastic, we have plant-based plastic. So we call ourselves plastic free. That's more of a statement about the type of plastic the world is using now. But we also create plastic, but that plastic is made out of plants, is biodegradable, is compostable, will go back to being plants very quickly. And as Carmela said, most importantly, it is a positive soil amendment. That's a fancy way of saying it's good for the earth, not bad. Has 0 toxic impact and is a positive soil amendment. And that's really good. So might have overstated my time, but I wanted to be thorough.
Thank you
No,
so much.
absolutely. Thank you for that question, Taz, and going into the type of companies we want to ask and connect with. Thank you for that, because we want to help create more change. And another leader in our community that's making change with this movement is Kim Sanders, and wanted her to come on. If you have any questions, Kim, we'd love to connect you to this topic because we know it's so much a part of your brand and heart.
Well, thank you. Thank you all so much. And this is one of truly the most powerful calls. All of our calls are just so incredible, but to have the heart of Dave coming on and just being able to, all of us can step into this. And I have been caring about this for so long. And when Dave said that this is an option, it was like, what can we do? And the thing is I get to have abundance coming into my life because I share these superfoods day in and day out that Dave has created, and Amy and the whole Purium company. And for me, it was just this no-brainer to be able to say, how can I give back to something that is so profound? And so we can give monetarily because the financial piece is definitely needed for this. And, you know, so give from your heart with this to Dave, 100%, you know, we can donate to him, and then we can go out and all of your favorite little things that you have in your cupboards, like go and get a connection to the people that are producing this food that we're bringing into our homes, and see what we can do and really connect with those people. And so I'm just so honored. And you know, the ability for the carbon credits is just huge. So I just thank you, Dave, so much. And may we all just put the money back to where it came from so that we can keep doing this, because you really think about it, you know, we can all get really healthy and we can keep bringing health and wellness. But if all of that is causing the planet to be unbalanced, then it doesn't really matter how healthy we are. And the biggest thing is, once we get to share Purium with people and we remove their suffering, they in turn can start caring about the planet. Because when you see people that are in a state of total survival, the planet is not anywhere near their forefront of their mentality. So if we can keep bringing Purium into people's lives, into their homes, and really activating their financial state as well, then in turn, then their cup is overflowing, and then you do want to take care of the planet, and you do want to be of service, and you can. So I just invite all of us to really step into that place and share as much as you can with Purium, because then the finances are going to come in, and then we get to have less plastic, we get to have healthier humans, and then people want to show up in the world so that we can unite with someone that is this precious and amazing. So I just am so honored to even get to speak and be a part of this, and I'm so thankful for everybody. Thank you so much for this.
It's a great message and lesson.
Well, Kim, thank you. I just want everyone to know that, you know, Kim is speaking from, some people talk the talk. Kim walks the walk. She puts her money where her mouth is. She puts her money where her heart is, because she knows money is just energy. And I want to talk to you about the power of being a Purium partner. Just you might want to take notes right now, because the most powerful thing for any business is to say that we're the only. See, there was a time when like Channel 7 was the only channel that had Monday Night Football, and man, their ratings all week grew because they had Monday Night Football, and on Monday Night Football they promoted all of their other shows that ran all week. So just because they had one thing that was exclusive, they parlayed that into massive success. Do you know that Purium is the only company that will give you your first $50 worth of product for free if you've never tried our product before? Exclusively the only company that does that. Do you know that Purium's the only company that guarantees we never use binders, fillers, excipients, preservatives, additives, coloring agents, or flowing agents in our products, that we only give you pure food every time, all the time? That's right, exclusive. Did you know that we're the only company on the planet that has a glyphosate solution? Even though this problem has been around for 30 years and everybody's suing everybody and billions of dollars are being given in damages to people who are dying from glyphosate, nobody's outlawing it and nobody has a solution except for Purium. Exclusively the only company with a glyphosate solution. Can I go on? We are the only company that I know of with a fast start bonus that allows you to earn thousands of dollars, like it just in bonuses, not in commissions, in bonuses when you join our company and do the right thing. And of course, the big one that we're talking about today, the only company on the planet that is made that commitment to having organic whole superfoods in plant-based packaging. So you have 5 areas of exclusivity. If we're the only ones, and no other company can even say one of those things. Very few companies can even have one, we're the only. Okay. And Purium is the only company with plastic-free glyphosate solution and all of the other things I mentioned. So pure food in plant-based packaging with ridiculously fair and generous compensation for helping us change the world. This is a business you can be proud of. We say proud to be Purium, because I've had jobs I was ashamed of. I've had jobs when people ask me, what do you do? And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Right? But now when people ask me what I do, they better be ready to listen. They better got some ears on, because you know, we do a lot, don't we? So thanks again, everybody. I've got a lot of people lining up right now that have been waiting. I'm getting ready for this Earth Day event, hosting, you know, a lot of you folks hopefully up here on my land, and we're gonna, you know, talk and continue this conversation. So thank you once again, and again, celebrating, lifting up, glorifying these ladies on your board right now, the Million Mom Movement Council, and all of you who show up here every week to be part of this community. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Dave. Wow. It's always a community prayer whenever we come together, and we pray for the health and of our entire community. And we're going to show you how you can stay connected with us. I'm going to pass it over to Taz Ferreira, and she's going to share how we can stay communicating and really growing our community.
Absolutely. So we are here reminding you every week about our passionate work and what we're doing. And you know what? We cannot move this movement alone. So we need your help with the Plastic Free, with the Million Mom Movement. And if you know someone who has not been onto our calls, you can send them to our YouTube channel. So you can like our Facebook group at Million Mom Movement, join our Facebook group, Million Mom Movement Official, and you can send people there as well. And follow us on Instagram, okay? And this is not a time to be small anymore. We must shine our light bright. And a way to do that is make a post about the plastic free, make a post about the organic, make a post about what we stand for, and tag us. And add our hashtags, Million Mom Movement, hashtag I am the Million Mom Movement, and we are the Million Mom Movement, and we will reshare it because we are a community together. We also have a Twitter page, and follow us at Million Mom Movement. And again, subscribe to our YouTube channel and reach out to the person who invited you to today's call. This was so powerful and impactful. I know it will change so many lives, and it all starts with you. It all starts with us, and we can do so much together. And next week on April 21st, we will be hosting with Catalina Tisdale, and she's going to do a kitchen transformation challenge and a spring cleaning, right? We're going into spring already. So she's going to be doing a full kitchen makeover and teaching us maybe challenges, how to live a healthier life. So thank you all. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Sheena. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, the amazing council. Thank you, every single person who was on today's call. Thank you, and spread the word. Thank you, everyone.